What we're going to have a look at today is the worst ride I've done in my time in Perth, and this happened back on the 31st of January, so my memory might be a little bit fuzzy, but essentially I did that blue line there, and it's along Great Eastern Highway, and thankfully this was early on a Sunday morning, so there wasn't much traffic and wasn't that bad. But we started off quite well on what a typical Perth bike path. You know, when you get these separated paths, it's really, really good. That is, if you can find them, because the signposting tends to be pretty miserable, and the maps are so bad that even the locals have told me they can't find maps and can't find their way around. Now, I was a little bit confused on this early stage whether I was supposed to be riding here on the footpath or on the lane that goes that's marked along the side of the road, because in a lot of places it wasn't actually marked with bicycle symbols, so I wasn't sure if that was for me or it was just a little bit of road space for collecting broken glass and Coke cans and stuff like that. And after a while I thought, well, I'll actually give it a go. It's got green paint and oh look, there's some bicycle symbols, it must be for me, so I'll try it out. And this is like the Perth version of Parramatta Road. It's wide, it's arterial that goes through industrial areas and stuff like that, but unlike Parramatta Road on Sunday morning, it's obviously very, very quiet. I didn't mind riding on it, but I wasn't terribly comfortable. I didn't like it very much at all, and I think during the weekdays and during peak hour it might be quite shocking. Now, this guy had a buckled wheel, so I pulled over and lent him my multi-tool, and he managed to fiddle with his spokes and get his wheel straightened out enough to get home. So that was my good deed for the day, and he went off happy. And I decided I'd stick to the path for a little bit, because riding on that road was not a great experience, and I think there was also quite a bit of glass and rubbish and other stuff in the bike lane, so wasn't the best place to be at all. And after a while I was thinking, yeah, where's this taking me? Do I really want to go out here? Is it worth it? No, I don't think so. I would prefer to be down by the river and having a look at the scenery and stuff like that, because I really don't want to look at petrol stations and office blocks and light industrial sites and all the rest of it. So when I got out close to the airport turnoff, there was a pathway heading off to the left that kind of looked interesting. I hadn't planned any of this. I didn't know where I was going. I hadn't looked at any maps, because it's very difficult to find any maps that show you anything meaningful. So as soon as I saw an exit off this, I thought, great, I'll take that, because there's no interesting cafes along here, there's no view, and it's just lots of traffic, and well, not lots of traffic, but there is traffic, and it's just a big wide road, and it's hot, and what's the point? Unless you just want to do lots of miles, well, you'd be better off just sitting on a trainer at home, I think. So I popped off into suburbia just to have a look at what it was like, and when I came around this corner I was very bemused to see this little bike lane, and I was like, what? What is the point of that? Particularly when there was a car parked at the end of it, so I had to go back and photograph it, because I was like, not quite sure what that's supposed to be. But it didn't really matter, because it took me down to the water's edge, and for a while there were some paths, very variable quality. I think this stuff is fairly old and was very disjointed. So I'd find a little bit of path, I could ride along the river, and then I'd get to a construction site or private property or something or other, and I'd have to come back up onto the road and then try and find my way through the back streets to find the next section of path. Now, if this is supposed to be some kind of linked up route, the wayfinding is absolutely abysmal as usual. That's just a common theme in Perth. Generally a very good network, but you just can't find it because the signage is just woeful. It's anyway. So I rode up there and thought, no, that was a mistake. It's just going to take me back on a Great Eastern Highway, and that's about the last place in the world I want to be. Let's just go back through the suburbs down here and see if we can find the water once again. And we didn't find the water, but I found this horse exercise area, and went past some signs here warning about horses and dogs and stuff like that. Because this is all floodplain along here, it can't be developed, but there's a race course around here somewhere, and so these trails are really more set up for walking horses or riding horses. And whilst I didn't see any out here this morning, I did see evidence that actually some of these houses had stables off them, and because there's the Belmont Racecourse nearby, where there's a lot of trainers, there's some actually quite large stables that looks like they've got quite a lot of horses. So thankfully, got the mountain bike for this kind of stuff. It's just made for this, all good. Had no idea where I was going. It's just like, the water must be down here somewhere. I'll just keep riding around until hopefully I'll find the water and I don't get lost. And pull the phone out, check where the hell I am, because I had no idea. And on this path, off we go. And as usual, like I said before, very variable quality along here. But nice. It's not a super high standard path by any means, but yeah, it's a nice little ramble through the wetlands. Where are we now? Do I recognise that bridge? No, I don't think I do. But just the route was kind of discontinuous. Wasn't particularly well marked. It was just more a matter of, well, let's just keep heading in that direction and head for the best. And you pop around a corner like this and go, oh look, there's a red lane. Okay, good. That's obviously a bike path, but no signage or arrows on the ground or anything to tell you where to go. I had to stop and take a photo of that because it really bemused me that was possibly the worst little section of path there imaginable, with a really steep concrete lip coming off the path. It was engineering at its worst. And I just kept on going, and I saw, well, there's red stuff on the side there. This must be some kind of bike route. I'll just follow it. All that stuff over on the right there, that is the horse racing or racetrack. And there you go. There's a horse crossing the road there. And a lot of this stuff on the right here is stables, and you definitely know you're in horsey territory when you come around a corner and there's people walking horses. So just in summary, Great Eastern Highway, not a nice place to ride by any means. Would not recommend it to anyone. Maybe there's something interesting out there to go and have a look at. I don't know. I didn't find anything. There's much better places to ride than there, that's for sure. And I've never gone back to have another look at it. And certainly none of my friends over here who ride have said, oh yeah, you got to ride out there. There's something to go and see. No. And all that section along the river, I really would like to go back and have another look at that properly, preferably with someone who actually knows where they're going, so they can show me, a continuous path, and does it actually lead to something? Because as usual, with the terrible maps and signage, that's no help at all. Anyway, that's kind of the good and the bad, and until next time.